We will take this reading comprehension passage, and first we will read the passage and then we will go ahead and take the questions. It says here aggression is any behavior that is directed towards injuring, harming, or inflicting pain on another living being or group of beings. Generally, the victims of aggression must wish to avoid such behavior in order for it to be considered true aggression. Aggression is also categorized according to its ultimate intent. Hostile aggression is an aggressive act that results from anger and is intended to inflict pain or injury because of that anger. Instrumental aggression is an aggressive act that is regarded as a means to an end other than pain or injury. For example, an enemy combatant may be subjected to torture in order to extract useful intelligence, though those inflicting torture may have no real feelings of anger or animosity toward the subject. The concept of aggression is very broad and includes many categories of behavior. Example, verbal aggression, street crime, child abuse, spouse abuse, group conflict, war, etc. A number of theories and models of aggression have arisen to explain these diverse forms of behavior, and these theories models tend to be categorized according to their specific focus. The most common system of categorization groups the various approaches to aggression into three separate areas based upon the three key variables that are present whenever any aggressive act or set of acts is committed. The first variable is the aggressor himself or herself. The second variable is the social situation or circumstance in which the aggressive acts occur. The third variable is the target victim of aggression. We have in the first paragraph, the author describes the categories of aggression and then he says the entities, the different variables in aggression. So, if you broadly want to summarize this paragraph, you will have the categories of aggression, that is hostile aggression and instrumental aggression, as you see here the word, so I will mark it for you. The author defines aggression and then he categorizes them. The first is hostile aggression and the second is instrumental aggression. Correct? These two are the things, and then after that, what you have is the example of the instrumental aggression, and then he further goes on to say that a number of theories and models of aggression have arisen, and then he says that the most common system of categorization is this, and then you have the variables of aggression. So there are three variables: the aggressor, and then you have the circumstance, and the third is the victim. So this is how the first paragraph has come into shape. Further, it says here, regarding the theories and research on the aggressor, the fundamental focus is on the factors that lead to an individual or group to commit aggressive acts. At the most basic level, some argue that aggressive urges and actions are the result of inborn biological factors. Sigmund Freud 1930 proposed that all individuals are born with a death instinct that predisposes us to a variety of aggressive behaviors, including suicide and mental illness. Other influential perspectives supporting a biological basis for aggression conclude that humans evolved with an abnormally low neural inhibition of aggressive impulses, and that humans possess a powerful instinct for property accumulation and territorialism. So, this is how you have the other theories of how aggression evolved. It is proposed that this instinct accounts for hostile behaviors ranging from minor street crime to world wars. Hormonal factors also appear to play a significant role in fostering aggressive tendencies. For example, the hormone testosterone has been shown to increase aggressive behaviors when injected into animals. Men and women convicted of violent crimes also possess significantly higher levels of testosterone than men and women convicted of non-violent crimes. Numerous studies comparing different age groups, racial, ethnic groups, and cultures also indicate that men overall are more likely to engage in a variety of aggressive behaviors, example sexual, aggravated assault, etc., than women. One explanation for higher levels of aggression in men is based on the assumption that, on average, men have higher levels of testosterone than women. So, the testosterone, the hormonal factor, has come towards the end uh, as the reason for why there is a prevalence of aggression in men and women, in more in men and less in women. And then we have Sigmund Freud discussing the fundamental factors that lead one to become aggressive. So this passage is very well structured. It is not complicated. In the first paragraph, you have the types of aggression, what is aggression, and the different variables in aggression. In the second paragraph, what you have here is what we call as the theories of aggression. So the different theories proposed by different people, Sigmund Freud being one of them, and there is one idea of the hormonal factor towards the end. So that is how the whole passage has come to shape, and now we can have a look at the questions. The question says, the first question says, the author identifies three essential factors according to which theories of aggression are most commonly categorized. Which of the following options is closest to the factors identified by the author? So here we have four factors. So the author says the author identifies three essential factors according to which theories of aggression are most commonly categorized. So what factors do you have? Now, if you look at the factors, then where are the factors? So option A says psychologically, sociologically, medically. Aggressor. So categorization has happened here in the last in the last part of first paragraph. Here you have the categorization word. The author says here that the most common system of categorization groups the various approaches of aggression into three separate areas based upon the three key variables. So the categorization happens on three variables. The first is the aggressor himself, the second is the social situation, and the victim. So what do you have here? The first the second option says that that the first is the aggressor, and the second is the circumstance of the aggression, and third is the victim. So the question says the author identifies three essential factors according to which theories of aggression are most commonly categorized. So the question is not asking us the categories, but the question is asking us the factors on which the categorization is done. So there are two different things. One is the question asking you the category, and the other is asking you factors on which the categorization is done. And that is where the last part of first paragraph becomes very important, because it says here the most common system of categorization groups the various approaches to aggression into three separate areas based upon the key variables. So the key variables are these three, and on the basis of this the categorization is done, and therefore the answer to question number one is B without doubt, because this can be obtained from the last part of the first paragraph. Understanding the question is very important, and then you should mark the question. So this is the correct. Medically, again, I mean, this is not. So once you have found the answer, you know why this is the right answer. Correct. Many people say hostile, instrumental. This is the first type of aggression. This is the other type of aggression. Hormonal is not the type of aggression. It's the factor that causes aggression. So this is wrong. Extreme, moderate, mild. Again, nothing has come of this kind in the paragraph. So answer B is the right choice. An easy question. The author discusses all of the following arguments in the passage except. Now, this kind of question can take a good amount of time, because you have to read every option, go and look for it in the passage, and the one that is true will not be the right answer, and the one that is not true is the right answer, because the question asks you to pick the one that is except. So the author discusses all of the following arguments except the one that he is not discussing becomes the right answer. Now, A says men in general are believed to be more hormonally driven to exhibit. Now, this has definitely come in the paragraph. If you read the last paragraph, where the testosterone hormone has testosterone. So let me write the spelling. This is the word that has come in the end of the paragraph, and the author has categorically said that men are more inclined to be aggressive and to commit violent crimes than women. So A is definitely true and therefore not the right answer. B says several studies indicate that aggression may have roots in the biological condition of. Yes, in fact, this has come here. The word biological has come, and therefore we can definitely say that this has been discussed. If you scroll down here, this is what you see. It says at the most basic level, some argue that aggressive urges and actions are the result of inborn biological factors. So biological factors are are directly responsible, and therefore even option B is not the right answer. So we have to eliminate B. Let's go to C. The nature of aggression can vary depending on several factors, including. Yes, the nature of aggression varies. Depending on that, you have different categories, as the author has said. If you look at the first paragraph, the nature of aggression can vary. So this is what it says here. It says here that aggression is also categorized according to its ultimate intent. Hostile aggression is an aggressive act that results from anger and is intended to inflict pain. Instrumental aggression is an aggressive act that is regarded as a means to an end. So this is how there are different types of aggression, correct? And the option says the nature of aggression can vary depending on several factors, including intent. So this also has come Correct. So this goes out, and now you have option D. So option D talks about aggression in most societies is kept under control through moderating the death instinct. Is it kept under control through moderating the death instinct? We have to understand this. Is it kept under control through moderating the death instinct? Let's have a look at it here, so we can go and check where is the death instinct coming here. We have it here. It says, so Sigmund Freud proposed that all individuals are born with a death instinct that predisposes us to a variety of aggressive instinct and other influential factors. So there is no moderation of the death instinct. In fact, the word moderation has not come anywhere close to that instinct. So that may not be the right answer, because that is not possible. I mean, it is not the right answer, because there is no moderation of death. So this is the right answer. In fact, we can go by the elimination now. One we have found, we have found C, we have found. So since we can't find D, D is not one of the arguments. So definitely D is the right choice here, because the death instinct has come, but it is not kept under control by moderation of the death instinct. In fact, the death instinct is a responsible factor for uh, for aggressive urges and instincts. So D is the right answer, I would say, not any other. D is the right answer, definitely. So let's go ahead and take the third question. All of the following statements can be seen as logically implied by the arguments of the passage except. So again, you have to go and check every option. The one that is true will not be the right answer. The one that is not true will become the right answer. So A says the Freudian theory of suicide as self-inflicted aggression implies that an aggressive act need not be sought to be avoided. Now this is definitely implied. See, understand what exactly is aggression. Aggression is, now if you look at the first paragraph here, Sigmund Freud proposed that all individuals are born with a death instinct that predisposes us to a variety of aggressive behavior, including suicide. Correct? And mental illness, so other influential factors. So Sigmund Freud said that we all are born with death instinct, and that instinct predisposes us to variety of aggressive behaviors. Now if you look at the first paragraph, it says aggression is any behavior that is directed toward injuring, harming, or inflicting pain on another living being. Correct? And generally, the victims of aggression must wish to avoid such behavior in order to be considered to a true aggression. But now the problem is that if it is coming from outside, then it is definitely can be avoided. But if it is, let's say, suicide, and you are trying to kill your own self, that means the aggression is coming from you towards you, then you can't avoid it. So aggressive instinct towards your own self cannot be avoided. So here it says that all of the statements can be seen as logically implied. So option A is logically implied, because the Freudian theory of suicide as self-inflicted aggression implies that an aggressive act need not be sought to be avoided. How can you avoid it? If you are inflicting aggression on your own self in the form of suicide, that means it can't be avoided because you're killing your own self. So if you say that aggression is something that could have been avoided, to term it as an aggression, that means that this statement is also implied by that suicide in that case is an aggressive act which cannot be avoided in order for it to be considered as aggression. So the first statement that we read in the paragraph, and the Sigmund Freud suicide discussion shows that A is implied and therefore is not the right choice. A common theory of aggression is that it is a result of an abnormal low neural regulation of testosterone. Now you have to understand this. Is it the abnormally no low neural regulation of testosterone? Because something is wrong here. If you look at the passage, you will realize how the wrong thing has come. So where is the word neural regulation? You will see that it has come in the paragraph. It says here that other influential perspectives supporting a biological basis for aggression conclude that humans evolved with a abnormally low neural inhibition of aggressive impulses. So it is the neural inhibition of the aggressive impulses and not the hormone testosterone. So this is definitely not implied, and therefore accept becomes right in this case, because abnormally low neural regulation of not testosterone hormone but of something else, and that something else is the aggressive impulses. So B is definitely not implied and therefore is the right answer. C says if the alleged aggressive act is not sought to be avoided, it cannot be considered as an aggression. Yes, we had marked A on the basis of the statement made by Freud and the statement that has come in the first sentence of the first paragraph, and this also can be marked on the basis of the first sentence of the first paragraph. So this also goes out. Freud's theory of aggression proposes that aggression results from the suppression of aggressive. Yes, the author has said that aggression results from, according to Freud, it says Sigmund Freud proposed that all individuals are born with a death instinct and that predisposes us to aggressive behaviors and mental other influential factors are so aggressive. So here regarding theories and research on the fundamental focus on the factors that lead to individual at the most basic level, it is the aggressive urges. Sigmund Freud proposed that all individuals are born with death instinct, and what else? There must be something, uh, possibly due to an unhealthy or unnatural suppression of aggressive urges. So here we have found again the suppression of aggressive urges, and therefore this also is implied by Freud, and therefore option B is the right choice because this is not neural regulation of testosterone but of aggressive impulses. Aggressive impulses and testosterone are not the same thing, and therefore B is the right answer. The last question here, it says an enemy combatant may be subjected to torture in order to extract useful intelligence, though those inflicting the torture may have no real feelings of anger or animosity toward their subject. Which of the following best explicates the larger point made by the author? So the author has made this statement, and he has a larger message to give. What is the larger message? It says here that an enemy combatant may be subjected to torture in order to extract useful intelligence. So you are subjected to torture not because we hate you or because there is deliberate intent of inflicting pain, but the means is torture, but the end result is intelligence. That means you are trying to extract some sort of information. Though those inflicting the torture may have no real feelings of anger or animosity toward their subject. So which one explicates or explains best what is discussed here in the quote? One says that information revealed by subjecting an enemy combatant to torture is not always reliable because of the animosity. So it is not about the reliability of the information. In fact, you are trying to extract the information. So here the idea of reliability has not come into picture. Nowhere has the word reliable come, which shows that information extracted in this manner may not be reliable or is not always reliable. Two says when an enemy combatant refuses to reveal information, the use of torture can sometimes involve real feelings of hostility, but there is no in fact the author says that there is no real feelings of hostility, and here you say that can sometimes involve real feelings. So these both go out because they are mentioning something which is not there in the past in the quoted sentence, or which is opposite to what is given in the quoted sentence. In certain kinds of aggression, inflicting pain is not the objective and is no more than a utilitarian means to achieve. In certain kinds of aggression, inflicting pain is not the objective. The objective is something else. Yes, and it is no more than a utilitarian means to achieve another. Utilitarian basically means uh, something of use, something acting as a medium. So, for example, if you want to write a letter, the pen is just a medium, but the real content is in the information that you are writing. So here the torture inflicted is just a means to achieve another end, and what is that other end? That other end is the to extract the useful intelligence. So three looks absolutely good. Utilitarian basically means acting like a medium, serving some other purpose. So three looks good. The use of torture to extract information is most effective. Now we don't know whether it is most effective or not. See, understand this. The problem is definitely the torture. The torturer is not emotionally involved. But the idea is that is it trying to show that this is the most effective way? If he's not emotionally involved, this is the most effective. That is not the message. The message here is something else. The message here is that the inflicting of the pain is just a means to an end, and the end is what? To extract useful intelligence or information. So three is the right answer. Overall, I would say this was an easy passage.